Honourable Chairperson, before I became a councillor, I served on the ward committee where I live. What I saw then was provincial government reaching out with a project to build a much needed taxi rank in the neighbourhood. There was great fanfare and a ribbon was cut. The politicians posed for photographs and everybody walked away. Except that there was just one problem. The taxi drivers didn't like where the rank was situated. It was away from their normal route and it was inconvenient for them. The commuters also didn't like it. It was away from the busiest shopping area and it necessitated walking. It also exposed people traveling at odd hours to crime and criminals. The result then was a white elephant, a useless project costing millions, conceptualized and delivered by the state with no real understanding of what the people wanted, with no real understanding that no matter how much the state tries to push its ideas, the market, the people will decide. This is the inherent problem with the developmental state model. The state thinks they know what people need and want, but the state is made up of conservative officials, informed by outdated thought and guided by questionable politicians with questionable agendas. The state should not be centralizing control to drive development. The state should be making sure that it creates an environment where development can happen through entrepreneurship, through opportunity makers, and through hustlers. This week, the auctioning of broadband spectrum or bandwidth finally opened. The auction has been in the pipeline since 2010, and the broadband rollout has been mentioned in each of the past 11 State of the Nation addresses. Go back and check. I did. Let me emphasize the importance of the auction. Internet access and connectivity are key drivers of the economy, especially in rural areas, Honourable Mukiva. Access to the internet enables more and more people to participate in the economy. Regional GDP can jump by up to 8% upon the introduction just of cell phones. Doubling broadband speed adds anywhere up to 3% to GDP. It broadens access, it brings opportunity, it creates wealth. There are numerous studies confirming that increased access to the internet and faster speeds work together to reduce inequality. And so we see that the much mentioned Gini coefficient has been exacerbated by government's ineptitude. And let no person here stand and blame the other role players in this. It has been government itself that blocked and delayed the release of spectrum for years. The Communications Ministry, before that Telecommunications and Postal Services, has been the key procrastinator. And then, of course, the terms of the auction, when it was finally released, were designed to be so controversial that there would undoubtedly be legal challenges. Conspiracy theories abound that this was done on purpose to allow time to migrate TV signal from analog to digital after all of those failed deadlines. A process, in fact, that is still not complete and is now being challenged legally because government has not procured enough set-top boxes in sufficient quantities to cater for the demand. Honourable members, we here are frankly sick of hearing from each other the phrase, "Am I audible?" The impact of the COVID-19 pandemic on our economy could have been partly mitigated had we had sufficient internet connectivity and cell phone access across the country. Instead, people were forced to work from home with poor network and poor productivity, and work outcomes are a result. We've all experienced this. So instead of doing the basics to drive development, the state has bungled this project from the start. This is not a developmental state. It's quite the opposite. Policy uncertainty and the inability to implement plans have proven to be undevelopmental. The most frightening words a person in the private sector can hear is, "Hi, I'm from the government and I'm here to help," causes them to run for the shadows. Now we want to further entrench the developmental state, as if the poor people of South Africa deserve more hardship, more inequality. Just look at the infrastructural decay around cities and towns throughout South Africa. The Deputy President admitted all of this yesterday. Our infrastructure is going backwards. How can you even contemplate development when you cannot even cope with the current demand? Let the state rather concentrate on its constitutional imperatives. Focus on building roads, providing clean drinking water, an electricity supply that is consistent and reliable. These are the basics. Make sure our people are housed and healthy. Let us protect the fruits of our labor. Government, help us protect the fruits of our labor by reducing crime. Then you will find that development will follow without the need for the state to drive it. Create the conducive environment. That is the role of government. As South Africa looks to a deepening economic crisis, we need real support from government. The only developmental plan that the ANC has had was development through state-sponsored jobs.
As you conclude, Honourable Member, as you conclude, I'm not saying conclude now, please. Continue.
The only developmental plan that the ANC had was development through state-sponsored jobs. The only development that the ANC has achieved effectively over the past 28 years, is the development of a public sector wage bill that even the unions agree is unsustainable, and the development of monstrous debt that we are struggling to service. Get back to basics, government. You cannot afford to be reaching outside of anything beyond your very core mandate. Thank you.